Hello, this is Sunny. Welcome to the second video in our smart contract development tutorial series. I'd like to give a thanks to the Blockchain Training Alliance and Finago. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Solidity, which is the language that smart contracts are written in, and some ways that you can interact with blockchains on Ethereum just through your browser. We're going to be looking at the Remix compiler and MetaMask, which is actually a Chrome extension. So what we have here is the Remix compiler. It is an in-browser IDE, meaning you don't have to download any software or anything. You just have to Google Solidity Remix compiler, and it should be one of the first few links that pops up. When you first load it up, you'll see this browser/ballot.sol. .sol is the file extension for Solidity files. And okay, so Solidity, it's the language that smart contracts are written in. It's a Turing-complete language, meaning it has a wide array of computational functions. It lets you do some stuff like object-oriented programming. And it's really similar to JavaScript. If you're familiar with JavaScript, you'll have a pretty easy time picking up Solidity. If you take a look here at this ballot contract, contracts are what they're called. They're kind of like classes in Java. It says pragma solidity caret 0.4.0 semicolon. So much like Java and JavaScript, semicolons and statements. And every Solidity contract has pragma solidity at the beginning with this caret and then the version of Solidity that the code is written in so that the compilers can actually read the code accurately. You have to remember that smart contract development is still relatively new in the long run, and so more versions of these languages are constantly being developed, and so it's important that the compiler is on the same page as the developer writing the code. So as you can see, we have our functions, or just like methods, some if, else, whiles. So a lot of the same logic that's found in other programming languages. The name of this contract is ballot, and as you can see, we have a constructor function here. Ballot, it's named the same thing as the contract, so this function will be called whenever this contract is deployed on the blockchain. So this is the Remix compiler. You have this interface on the left, which lets you manage files. I can go ahead and create a new .sol file. Let's go ahead and name this test.sol. And now I can switch between these at will. So yeah, that's the Remix compiler. What we have here is the Solidity Documentation, also provided to us by the devs. This is a very, very handy resource for developers. We're not going to be going through the entire documentation in this tutorial series, but I highly recommend that you look through it in your free time. There's a lot of really useful knowledge in here. As you can see, you have your table of contents on the left, so we can start at Introduction to Smart Contracts. There's a lot of great stuff in here. I highly recommend you go check it out. Here we have the Solidity GitHub page. It's found under the main Ethereum GitHub. Excuse me. There's actually a lot of really cool stuff here. I believe you can actually find the Ethereum yellow paper in here. Yep, here it is. Ethereum's formal specification. So you can see exactly how they intended people to interpret the Ethereum protocol. Oh, and here's the Remix IDE's GitHub page. I believe that you can actually also download a desktop version of this. Yep, you can use npm. Anyway, we can use something called MetaMask, which is a Chrome extension that actually lets you interact with the Ethereum blockchain just from inside your browser. So we go to the Chrome Web Store, make sure you're on extensions, and search MetaMask, and it's this little fox guy. I already have it. Basically what this will do is inject the Web3 API into your browser's JavaScript context and allow you to interact with the blockchains. So when you have MetaMask installed, let's just go back to the Remix IDE. When you have MetaMask installed, you'll see a little fox in Chrome. You go ahead and click him, and MetaMask will pop up. As you can see, I can choose between different test nets, or the main net, or my local host on the port 8545. So people want to use test nets when they're testing and developing their smart contracts, because whenever you deploy a contract, it uses Ether. It takes a required Ether fee to deploy the contract, and you don't want to use real Ether when you're just testing your contracts. So you can use test nets and use test Ether to deploy your contracts on. Also, the stuff on the test nets don't really matter too much, but if you deploy your contracts on the main net, you can't change your contracts. You have to be 100% about your code, and that's really the thing you want to do at the very end of your development lifecycle. So we're on the Rinkeby testnet. I'm on MetaMask, so I'll go ahead and enter my password. And as you can see, I have 18.75 test Ether. This is unique to the Rinkeby testnet. And the way you get test Ether, at least on the Rinkeby testnet, is you use a faucet. This is the Rinkeby authenticated faucet. Very easy to find, just Google Rinkeby Faucet. And basically all you have to do is either use Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, your social media of preference, and just make a tweet or status update that contains your Ethereum wallet address. So if you go to MetaMask, click these three dots, copy address to clipboard, and you have your address, which you can't see in its entirety, but it's right here under your account name. You have that address copied to your clipboard, so you just make a tweet or a status update with your address pasted in there, and copy the link to that tweet or status update and paste that in this bar. And you can see there's like a cooldown or refresh rate depending on how much Ether you choose to gain. If you get more Ether, you have to wait a longer period of time before you can use the faucet again. On MetaMask itself, you can actually switch between accounts, create new ones, and import existing accounts already if you know the key. And you can go ahead and log out from MetaMask. And that is how you can interact with the blockchain just through your browser.